And also, if you're someone from different department, you might not know a few things about it, right? So I really hope this will be a great session for you, a useful session for you. So I'll just start with what is development. So to be more precise, let's just say, what do software developers do, right? So all of us are having smartphones. Maybe you are viewing me and listening to me through a smartphone right now, or through your laptop or desktop. Who knows? We have different devices. So the applications that you use in with your phone, or that is in your phone, or that is in your desktop, all of these are software products. So a software developer is someone who creates these software products, right? Now, yes, software development, software product, all of these are okay. But development is just an umbrella term, right? It's a very vast, very vast term. And we can like divide this development into two parts, and that is web development and app development. So I'm not going to go very in depth about web development, as I'm much more familiar with app development, but I do have experience with web development as well. That is the internship that I'm doing at IIT Madras. It involves web development. I'm a front-end developer there. We'll get to that later. So yeah, so development, the to me is it's a very crucial part of my life, and for all of your life, for all of our lives, because in this digital era, I personally believe that it is because of all these software products, all these developments, it's because of these that we are in this position right now. This just escalated everything, right? So it's such an honor to be a developer, and if you're going to get into development, it is a very good path. So now coming to web development. So web development itself is a very vast area, okay? Now, this web development, we can divide this into three major parts. The first one is definitely going to be front-end development. The second one is back-end development, and the third one is full stack development. So for the front end development is nothing but whatever you see. For example, if you see an icon, or if you see a text box where you can like give your name, or do you see a button. Even before joining this webinar, you would have seen all of those things. You would have seen it with your own eyes. So whatever you saw with your own eyes, that is developed by the front end developers. So the front end developers, they majorly use tech stacks such as HTML, CSS, which is like it is a very elementary part of development, web development to be more precise. So HTML, CSS, and maybe with JavaScript, or with React.js, or with AngularJS, etc. There are so many things to choose from, and with his or her own preferences, they might choose either one of these things, or even two, or even three, if they are very smart enough. So the visual aspect of what you see in an application is developed by front-end developers using these tech stacks. Now coming to back-end development. Most of the web developers, they use Node.js. But if like previously, before Node.js, people were using PHP. And if you are someone who's going to get into AI or ML or DS, if you want to create a website that has more computation, which deals with a lot of data, then you can go with Python. But there is a disadvantage with Python though. Python is like quite slow. That is the loading power, the loading symbol that you see, which quite annoys us at time. So the Python is quite slow, and that is why sometimes people prefer Java. And there are like many more like that. So again, it comes to preference. And now, what is a full stack? Full stack is nothing but they will be working on the front end part. They know how to bring in the front end aspect of an application, and then they'll also be working on the back end, and they know to connect these two with an API, and they will be working with connecting with the database and things like that. So they are like a superpower people, right? Supermans or superwomen's. They will be like dealing with all of these things. So the reason why I personally did not get very deep into web development is because, first of all, it is very vast. right? I personally am just a front-end developer. I do not work in the backend. So it is very vast, to be more exact. And nowadays, all the companies, they prefer you to be a full stack developer. Because obviously, when we speak about development, web development plays a very big role, right? So a lot of companies prefer you to be a full stack, though you will be put into front end, just like how I did. I was preferred to be full stack. I know how to connect both of these things with an API. So I was put in the full stack, but I was primarily working with the front end development team, right? So if there's any emergency, if there's any deadline, and if there's like very less manpower and a lot of workforce, then you are expected to work everywhere. So that is the reason why I found it personally, I found it quite stressful, and I personally enjoy app development much more than this, and that is why I chose that. So yeah, if you're a person who's going to get into web development, or if you're already a web developer, kudos to that. So if you're going to get into web development, all the best. The next one is we are going to see is app development or application development. So again, this is also not that easy when compared to we can't compare both. Okay, so this application development can also be divided into three parts. The one is Android development, that is the native Android development. The next one is iOS development, and the next third part is cross-platform development. So we'll go one by one. We'll just explore each one because some people might be into iOS development, some might be into Android, or some even cross-platform. We don't know. So let's just explore one by one. Now, the first thing here is Android development, native Android development. So I own an Android phone. I think many of you would also own an Android phone. If you're a person with Android phone and if you have apps such as like this, it is probably created by an Android developer, or maybe not. We'll come to that later, the third part, right? But again, most of these things are developed by an Android developer. So what is this? What is this? This differences, what are these things? We'll see. So Android development is nothing but developing softwares or applications for Android phones. That's it. It's as simple as that. So what are the tech stacks we'll use for it? For front end, we will be using XML. We actually have a very good point associated with XML. We'll come to that later. And for backend, we use either Java or Kotlin, right? So previously, like 6 or 7 years back, people were only using Java in order to create an Android app. But again, Kotlin was developed by Google, so it is a Google product, and it is a native Android app development. When it comes to Java, you can use it everywhere, right? So people wouldn't call it native, but Kotlin is native. And these days, after these many years, 6, 7 years, it took some time to come to the spotlight. But again, Kotlin did come up, and it is known to be much more simpler when compared to Java. But if you're a person, who already knows Java and who's fascinated by it, you can definitely go forward with it. So you also have a lot of certification courses, which is provided by Google itself. Sorry, it is not course, it is actually an exam. It is called Associate Android Developer. So if you just go to their website, you can find it over there. And the major tech stack which is used over there is Kotlin. So if you know Kotlin, uh, Kotlin is much preferred. Okay, so if you know Kotlin, then you can like just attend the exam. I hope they'll give you resources. And you can attend the exam, and yeah, you can just get the certification. So that has a lot of value in today's time, because that examination is not easy, and it is not free also, because we are students, we have to consider that as well, right? It is not free, but it is worth it. That's what I heard from the people I know who did it, right? So yeah, so where do we use these tools? We use these tools in a software called Android Studio. So you can download those Android Studio in Windows, Mac OS, Ubuntu, whichever operating system that you're using. You can download it over there, and yeah, it works perfectly. They will constantly update everything. They'll constantly update some features. There will be some bugs here and there, then and now, but they will fix it. And right now, I think we have the Chipmunk version. So if you're going to download the software, just make sure that you're downloading the Chipmunk version, okay? So yes, this is a very sweet intro about Android development. But I told you there is one more sweet thing about XML, right? So what that is. So if you download the Android Studio, you can actually find this feature on the right side, right on the right side of your screen. You can find this option called palette. Okay, so if you click that palette, it already has some inbuilt functions such as text, such as buttons. If you want to get mobile numbers, then it has that as well. If you want to include a picture, it has that as well. All you have to do is you just have to drag it and put it on the screen. That's it. And in your code part, in your code area, it will already be automatically returned. The code will be returned for it automatically. You don't have to like manually type everything. But obviously, like if you want to change the way it looks, or if you want to change the color, if you want to change the font and everything, obviously you can make that. Just with intermediate, at least an intermediate knowledge of XML would be much efficient and much enough in order to develop an Android application. And yeah, if you are getting into CS background, or if you are getting into like CS field, obviously you will use Stack Overflow, you will use Google. So trust me or not, even after having the experience of like 2 years or so, I still go to Google and search, okay, how do I change the color of this XML file? And I take the syntax and paste it over here. You just need to know how to Google correctly and how to look out for the perfect resources out there. Okay, now that is it about Android development. The next one is obviously iOS development. If you are a user who's using this, the iPhone, yes, iOS development is just for you. So for the app development, Android development, they'll just develop it and they'll publish it on Play Store. Whereas the iOS development, they'll develop the application and they'll be publishing it on App Store. Okay. So for iOS development, definitely it is less complicated when compared to Android development. I'll tell you why. So iOS development, what are the tech stacks we use? It's fairly simple. We either use Objective-C or Swift. So probably a decade earlier, or a few years back, people were primarily using Objective-C as their tech stack, that is, as their tool to create an iOS app to release on iPhones. But since the moment Swift has come, everything changed. Everyone started to learn Swift because it's easy to learn, first of all. It is very smooth. And second thing is it has a very good structure. Obviously, Objective-C has also a good structure. It is known for it, but still Swift is much efficient when compared to Objective-C. So if you are a person who's willing to get into iOS development, you can just start with Swift. And you might think like, that is it, just Swift? And the answer is yes, just Swift, because Swift is used for both front end and back end. So you just learn one tool and you just make an application. Definitely, it's not as easy as it sounds, but still, with time, with practice, you will be able to do that. Okay. And if there is a disadvantage when it comes to iOS development, that is you need to have Mac OS. You can't do it on Windows. You can't do it on Linux, like Ubuntu. Some people do tell me that there are options such as Sandbox or Virtual Machine. There are options where you can just, I think, install a virtual emulator. A virtual emulator is nothing but if you want to run an application, your that emulator, right? It will just act like your phone. It will show you how your application will run on a phone. So for app development, that is for Android app development, we have separate virtual emulator, and for iOS development, we also have separate simulator. We call it simulator, right? So where can we get that in Mac environment, Mac operating system is. So Apple provides this free software called Xcode. So Xcode is like the one software that many people, most of them or even all of them, they choose for their iOS development to develop an iOS app. And it has this feature called app.simulator. So that is used to just see how the app works and everything. So if you want to get into iOS development, fortunately or unfortunately, you need to own macOS for smooth functionalities and also to obtain the complete operations in it. Okay, so yes, now coming to my most favorite part, that is cross-platform development. See, believe it or not, I am in my final year. I've been in this Android app development environment for a very long time now, but I'm shifting my field from just Android development to cross-platform development. I'll tell you why. Let's say I have made an app. I had this brilliant idea. I developed this Android app. I've published it on Play Store, and yeah, people are loving it. They're just using it. The whole Play Store is just loving it. The whole users, they use it almost every day. But I also get these kind of reviews which says, when is it coming it on iPhone? When can I get it with my iOS? And that is sort of bothering me, because if my idea is great and if people are loving it, if they are using it almost every day, then it is fair to make an app for my iPhone users as well, right? And for that, what I'll do, I'll just go, I'll take Swift, I'll learn it, I'll develop an application. And if you're not from CS background, if you do not know what is happening over there, trust me, it is not easy to learn a programming language. Um, I mean, you will have the same logic, but the structure, the way you use it, the way you maintain it, everything will differ, right? So it is not that easy. But still, let's say hypothetically, I do that. I just develop an iOS app and release it, and people are loving it, users are loving it. But now here is the problem. Let's say I have one more feature to add, an update to give. Now I not only have to like make that update in one operating system, that is Android, but also do it for iOS. And not only that, I have to push these updates together and I have to maintain it. Like if there's any bug, then I have to maintain both of these things at the same time. See, it is not easy. It is not easy to maintain even one code base, right? It is not. Now just imagine being one single person and maintaining both. So many how do I say, product-based companies, they do this. They have Android developers and they have iOS developers. And yeah, it works for them, right? But as a student, if we have an idea, if we want to post something, what can we do? Cross-platform development comes into play. So cross-platform development is nothing but Flutter. So Flutter is again a Google product. It was developed by Google. And trust me, it is amazing. So in Flutter, all you have to do is you just have this one code base, right? Just this one code that can be pushed to Android app and also iOS app. How amazing does it sound? It's amazing, guys, because even if you want to make any update, you just have to like change that in that one code base, and you can only you I mean you of course you will maintain only one code, right? So it is much more simpler than you think. And in that case, I think many startups in these days, they are looking forward to hiring cross-platform developers. They are looking forward for Flutter developers and everyone, because they do not have so much of resources, because they're a startup. They do not have so much of resources, or they do not have so much of time to waste on these things. And many of the startups purely believe that Flutter is going to be the future, or the cross-platform is going to be the future. So yes, coming to the tech stacks, In Flutter, we will have or we will use Dart. It is a programming language. It is for the front end, and for the back end, we will be using Firebase. And both of these things are also developed by Google. These are all together, and there are people who do use these both languages for web development as well, but it is not as efficient as the native web development tools. So most of them won't prefer it, but some do use it, and it can be done, right? And what about the environment? I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. Again, if you are going to, push this into the iOS application, if you're going to push this to the App Store, obviously you need to have a Mac OS to even test it out. But my friends, like a couple of them, they do have this simulator there are so many simulators out there online. Just check for the virus and such, but you can like install them. They do have Windows, and so they just installed it and they will run the application over there. So maybe it is possible, but I would personally prefer or suggest people to go for Mac OS altogether if you are going to get into development. Yes. So what about the environment? You can either use Android Studio or Visual Studio, that is VS Code. Okay. Many developers who are into cross-platform development, they prefer Android Studio. Not only because it is like the native software where you can, that is used for development part, but Visual Studio is also majorly used because of course, the terminal is amazing. Visual Studio is just one packed genius, I would say. But you need to learn a little bit of the terminal, which will also help you later in your job process, I guess. So, yeah, you can use either of these things. And I've also seen my friend using it in IntelliJ from JetBrains. So they have this Flutter feature. Maybe you can use that as well. But these two environment IDE are primarily used for Flutter. Okay, now we saw what is out there. We saw everything about development. Not if not everything, this is like a kickstart, right? So at least you know where to go and how to start and everything. So is it all okay? Like just learning a programming language to develop something, is it all fine? Is it all enough? If you ask me, the answer is no, it is not. There is one more important, very important aspect to being a developer is to know the UI UX design. So UI UX is nothing but user interface and user experience, right? So you see a picture right over there. It is a phone. We see a logo, we see some font. This person right here is just pulling something or just inserting something, we don't know. But this is happening and this is attractive for as an user, this is attractive. So I'll give you a scenario, right? I'll give you a scenario where you have two different applications. Both of them are highly functional, they function the same level, they are good, both of them are equal. But one of them have a very good attractive user interface, right? And then other one does not have it. Though let's say the speed of the other one is much more efficient, but still as a user, if you to have that empathetic time, you just go and stand in their shoes and see, even as a user, even you would prefer the attractive one. That is how our human brains are wired. So apart from learning just the development part, it is quite important to learn the UI UX design. It also has UI UX research. It includes UI UX research and designing the picture that you see over here on your right side. This is, we call it wireframe. This is also quite important when it comes to development part, especially when it comes to application development. And then we create prototypes using software such as Figma, and Adobe XD, right? So we use these softwares to just create a prototype to show to our clients or things like that. So it's quite important to know this thing, especially being a student. If you are someone who's going for work, and if you're a developer, they will have a separate a profession called UI UX designer, right? So they will do this work for you. You don't have to do it there. But if you're a student, obviously you do not have such kind of an environment. It's almost like you have to do everything on yourself. And you know, if you want to develop your own projects, you have this idea, you want to publish it on App Store or Play Store. If you want to do that, then this is also important. It will not take more than one, more than 1 week to learn UI UX design if you just want to know the basics. Okay, in order to become a full-fledged UI UX designer, you have to give minimum of 3 months of your time. And yes, you can just build beautiful projects, beautiful prototypes, and yeah, you can become a UI UX designer. But if you want to know just the basics, 1 week, solid 1 week is enough. So I would suggest you to go through all of that. Now, coming to this crucial decision. So what is this? As I already mentioned previously in the beginning, in the introduction, I have guided many of my juniors, right? So when they come to me asking how to start and where to start, I would ask them these two questions. The first one is, are you looking forward to getting placed on campus? Or this question also includes questions such as, do you want to become a software engineer and not a developer, like engineer? Or are you looking for like SDE positions, software engineers, software development engineers, like such kind of positions? If you're like aiming for that, wait, wait. Or are you really interested in developing softwares? I ask these two questions first. And if I get an answer as yes for the question number one, I'll ask them to immediately pause for a while and rethink their schedule and decision. And I'll tell you why. So if you're going to get placed, if you want to get placed on campus, or if you were like, applying for jobs out there for software engineers, you actually have to focus more on DSA. That is data structures and algorithm. Obviously, I hope you know that if you're from CS background, especially. So yeah, you will be given like a lot of data structure questions, and you have to solve those things. Like it's like a problem solving area, right? It does not come anywhere closer to development when it comes to just the interview part, I'm saying. So if you're a person who's willing to aiming for that, then I would ask you to focus on aptitude. That is aptitude questions. This is the very first round most of the companies will have. So they will be like, filtering you and making you to move to the next position or the next round. And next you will be having a lot of coding interviews with just DSA and OOPS concept, object oriented programming. So if you're willing to go for that, then let's say you're a student who's studying for 10 hours per day. I would suggest you to study academics for 2 hours and 2 hours for development. I would not tell you to stop it. I'll tell you why. You study 2 hours for development, and for 6 hours I would suggest you to learn DSA or OOPS, right? DSA and OOPS, not or and OOPS. Now if the answer is S for the question number 2, then it would be the same schedule, but 2 hours for academics, 2 hours for DSA and OOPS, and 6 hours for the development. Why is it like that? Even if you are a software developer who's just into development, you will be asked concepts from DSA and OOPS for sure, because those are like the basics, like those are like the foundation of CSE, computer science and engineering. So if you're going to go anywhere into that, they will definitely ask these concepts, and you will be using these concepts while your development as well. So in that case, it is important to focus on that. You should not leave your academics. And for 6 hours, maybe for some it might be just 3 or 4, but just 6 hours. And I don't know how you study for all these time. If you're a person who study everything first and then later, after studying the whole development, okay, so I have to put HTML like this tag and begin, and then you if you do all that and then you start learning and then you start implementing, then it's going to be difficult. I would suggest you, as you learn, implement it. So as you learn, You have to do that so that you won't forget the concept, so that you will get into a lot of struggles like bugs, a lot of errors, and that will like improve you. That will actually make you a skilled person. Okay. So yeah, for both of these things, the reason why I did not say no to development for the first question is that even though you want to get into such positions, you need to have some environment to showcase your projects. So in that case, I think development will definitely help you, at least the basics, the elementary part of HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, all such kind of things will definitely help you with it. So please don't leave that completely. If you're not into it, it's okay. But if you are into it and if you want this, then do that. So yeah, the next one, probably a fun part for some of you, maybe it is not for some of us. I mean, internship was it was not easy to get. It was not easy to do. And yeah, it's definitely not easy, but it is essential. So how do we get internships? Especially being a developer, how do we get it? So fortunately for me, I got this opportunity from my CCR head. That is, also every college will have this placement head, right? So fortunately, we had that, but the competition was pretty high, like super high. A lot of people were there, and we had like I think 4 rounds. Yeah, we had 4 rounds. So the very first thing was definitely aptitude. Even for development, they would expect that sometimes. And then you have this coding round. We had that as well. And then thirdly, we had the technical HR. So here, in the technical HR only, it was completely, they asked only about object-oriented programming. Like I think they took the interview for like 40 to 45 minutes for myself. And the whole 40 to 45 minutes, it was only object-oriented programming and DSA. And they just kept on going. They just kept on going. And yeah, it was quite rough, but again, I think with practice you will get there. So it was that. And of course, at last, we will have our general HR round, right? So I'm very fortunate enough to have had this kind of an opportunity, obviously. But if not, how can we get it, right? So from the things that I saw from my friends, from their experiences, or even from myself, first thing first, you can apply on LinkedIn. Though LinkedIn, you might see a lot of job openings when compared to internship openings, but still applying over there is a it's a good deal. And I would also suggest you to have a very good LinkedIn profile. So have very good connection. Just don't accept everyone, accept people who are related to you. For example, if you're an app developer, or let's say if you're an IEEE member, that's how I think we also got connected. If you're an IEEE member, then you get connected. If you're an app developer, then you get connected, because then only you will be in this one fixed environment, or else it will be very big mess. Okay, so yeah, once you have those kind of connections, there's this thing called direct apply on LinkedIn. So you just directly apply to the companies and they'll receive your applications. Well and good. But sometimes you might see some job openings or internship openings, and the application rate will be like what, 200, 300. For Microsoft, it was like 10,000, right? So the competition is so high. In that case, just see if any of your connections are working there already. If they are, just reach out to them. Okay. Please don't have any kind of prestige issue or any kind of shame. Just reach out to them. They will be willing to help you. So, or if even if not, it's okay, we'll reach out to someone else. Okay, so reach out to them. Once you reach out to them, just request to them to refer you. You show your work, you send your resume to them, and if they agree, they will refer. So those who are having more referrals, or I mean those who are having referrals, will be preferred as the first candidates. That is the truth. So yeah, you can do this way. So as I'm coming from India, we have this one great opportunity, that is there's the software called Internshala. Okay, so it is only for like students who are looking for internships. So it's a very big platform. So that is, I think that is where I also applied for my second internship. So it is a very big platform. Just see if your country also has any kind of such softwares. If yes, please go forward with it. I think you might have Glassdoor. I suppose you have Indeed. I don't know, but just check if there's any. If there's not, then just be the developer. There's so much of opportunities with that, right? Develop one. I think it'll be a great opportunity. So yeah, for internship, if you have any on campus, please make use of that. Don't let it go. Work super hard for it. And then if it's like for LinkedIn, that apply cold emails. Yes. So you just get the email of your, how do I say, the HR from LinkedIn or from the website, and you just email them directly, cold emails. Just tell them, just send your resume, your curriculum vitae, your cover letters, and everything, and you just tell them, I am very much interested in it, and I'll be a very great asset to your company, blah blah blah. You send the mail. Maybe like there you have 5% chance of getting an email and also getting an interview. Now coming to portfolio. It is very important to have a very good portfolio, which will determine you getting into internship or job. So you need to have a good resume. So there's this software called flowcv.io. FLOW flowcv.io. So this is a free software that I personally use. It is completely free and the designs are amazing. The interface is amazing. So you can like create your resume for free over there. Please don't pay any money, just do it over there. And you have to, if you are going for masters, then you also need to focus on your ECA, extracurricular activities, such as volunteering for IEEE, or even social volunteering. Like you can like socially volunteer. I hope you understand what that is. Or even you can like join big clubs such as GDSC, Google Developer Student Club. There are so many out there. I think IEEE itself is a very big platform for all of us to volunteer, and I hope you're making use of it. Then website. You need to have, if you're into design, if you're into web, if you're going to become a developer, it is essential or crucial to have a website portfolio. Okay, just have a good website portfolio. If you're not a web developer like me, I personally chose wix.com, or it's much better to use WordPress. I hope you all know that. So it is either Wix or Wix or WordPress. You can make use of these things. And I mentioned GitHub over here because GitHub has student package, right? So there you don't have to pay any money for your domain address. Instead, they will be providing you a free domain. See how cool is that? So while being a student, please make use of that. Create a website and use the domain. Make use of the GitHub student pack. And now coming to resources. So for me personally, this is quite controversial because we are all different, right? For example, I might have a different learning speed. You might have a different learning speed, or you might know a few concepts that I don't know, that you don't need to know, but I need to know. So in that case, it will be a great mess if I just share you like one resource and ask you to learn from there. But I can give you a tip. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah, excuse me. But I can give you a good tip, and that is, please don't spend any money unless you want a certificate. But if you are going to get into development, please don't spend any money. You have so many free resources out there. You have a lot of YouTube videos, you have a lot of blogs, you literally have everything for free. But if you need a certificate, just go for it. But being a developer, I think you developing an application and showing that is much more efficient than earning a certificate. That is what I personally believe. So yeah, if you want certificate, please go ahead with it. If not, just learn it, apply those concepts, and get hands-on experience. Create beautiful websites or applications or app. That is app. Yeah, you can create all those beautiful things and just show that in your resume. It has much more weightage and value. Okay. Also, if you're like into DSA, there's so many websites for you as well, like Geeks for Geeks. free code camp. That is my most favorite because the free code camp website has all those resources for DSA and OOPS, and or even to learn a programming language. And they also have a YouTube channel which has all this application kind of development resources. For example, they have one for Flutter, one for Android development. That is where I'm learning everything. So that is my most favorite. Please check them out if can. Now coming to like, let's say, you know a hot area, a hotspot, or let's say an interesting topic, freelance. Now you need to understand one thing as a developer. you we are not professionals yet. We are still students in the eyes of others. So we are still students. So how can we, so if you had asked me this question like a couple of years back, I would have said, yeah, there are like so many freelance websites like Upwork, we have Fiverr, we have like freelancer.com. We have so many websites, like we can just go create an application and boom, we can get clients. This would have been my answer like 2 years back. I was quite enthusiastic back then. I am still now, but this is the reality. As student, let's say you are the user, okay, you are the client. You have two options. One is a student and one is a professional. Both of them are costing you the same money, but you would definitely choose the professional more than the student. Why? Because we would never know how good or skilled the student might be, right? Some are quite lucky to get clients on those kind of websites because they have a good resume, they have something to show, they have started it quite early. So yes, some are lucky with that. But as a student, this is what we have to face. It is quite difficult to get clients. So in that case, what we can do, when I spoke to many of my freelancing friends, the one common thing that I saw in most of them is that they got the client from someone they already know. Okay, do you get my point? So their first client is someone like it's either their friend or either one of their family members who has a business or who wants to do something, or even somewhere they just interned that, maybe their colleague, their ex-colleague, they are their first client. So it is like they already have this mutual connection, trust, and that's where they got their first client. And from here on, they'll definitely they'll ask for reviews and they might like improve their portfolio and everything. But initially as students, please focus on connecting with people, reaching out to them, or just make them to reach out to you. Marketing strategy. So make them to reach out to you. And yeah, that is one of the easiest way to get into freelancing. At least do it for free for the first couple of times, but after that, don't, right? And I think this comes to our next topic, that is having work ethics. So as freelancer especially, you need to have, or you need to set certain kind of boundaries with your clients, with yourself, to be to be more precise, first with yourself and then with your clients. So what is this work ethics, right? Let's say you are getting paid by hour, right? For 1 hour you will get paid $10. That is how it is. In that case, if your client demands you to do some work and doesn't pay you, please don't take that. Don't take that at all. Don't ever give that website to them or the app to them, right? If your timing is from 4 to 10 p.m., 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., you just work only then. You don't have to answer their emails or text messages after 12 or 1. If they call you like at 2 a.m., you don't have to do that, but you can politely decline. I'm not at the right time right now, this is not the right moment, or I'm sleeping, I'm tired. Oh no, so sorry, don't say I'm tired, just say that you're sleeping and things like that. But if you do have time, please reply, but just make sure that they don't step out of the boundary, okay? Or else you're just going to be very you'll be having a lot of workload. uh, Even as a student, this is going to be quite difficult. So have a good work ethic, and yeah, that will do wonders. So now I'll give you three bonus tips. This is something I personally follow, and this is also something which I would definitely ask my juniors to follow as well, if that works for them, obviously. And that is the very first thing is consistency. See, as a student, especially after coming out of a pandemic, after being at home, just procrastinating, spending a lot of time on phone devices, because we didn't know what to do. We were in a panic already, and we just lost the track completely, some of us. And in that case, we are, quite, it is consistency is not in our plate, to be very honest. And especially if you're a student, you just have to work for your academics and then you have to develop a skill and things like that. So yeah, no matter how demotivated you are, on certain days you will be, for sure, you will be, right? So no matter how demotivated you are, just make sure you do at least 20% of what you do usually. And that I would call consistency. You don't have to push yourself for 100% when you're not feeling like doing it, but just don't completely ignore it at the same time. For example, if you like, if you want to clean your room but you are not motivated to clean your room, at least make up your bed. That is what I'm measuring here. That is what I'm saying here, right? And the second is after hours. What is this after hours? This is like my favorite thing, I suppose. So we are students. So we are in class from morning to evening, right? And from morning to evening, we are not doing any other thing. We are listening to classes, we are doing assignments. If we have exams, we are doing that. And we only have like short break times, like for example, lunch time, resource time, or just 10 minutes break time. So in that case, when can you develop a skill? And that is only during after hours, that is after you come back. So that is where you can actually, differentiate from your peer people. They might go back and they'll just, lie down, they will procrastinate, they'll watch a movie or things like that, and they won't do anything like at all. They'll just be focusing on the morning part of the academic. But here you are, you're already 5% ahead of the other 95%, right? But these two are deadly combinations. And that brings to my third point, balance. See, this is a mistake I personally made because when I first started interning at Huawei, or just interning, let's say, I did not even answer the call from my home for like straight 3 weeks because I was so, immersed or submerged into this one intern or this work or this after hours, this consistency, that I didn't even do that. And it is so bad. It is not right. Henna. So it is not good. And you have to find a balance between your personal life and professional life. And trust me, if you do that, you are a superhuman. You really are. People usually fail at this point. So I'm still finding my own way. So if you're starting out, please start from now on. Give some time for your hobbies, listening to music, dancing, or give some time for entertainment. Maybe like one series per month, or even just one episode per day. You need to have some control, portion control as well. So yeah, you need to find that balance between both, or else you will be burnt out. And I did that. I did the whole consistency after hours deadly combination thing for 7 months, and I did nothing for the next 2 months because of completely burnt out. So please don't do that. Take enough breaks and carry on. Okay. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope I did give you some insight into development, and I really hope you did get at least like 1% of knowledge or 1% of resources from me. And I would personally would like to thank Mr. Yasin for giving me this opportunity. I think it was through him I got it. So thank you so much, Mr. Yasin. And thank you so much to everyone who are present here, who are patiently listening to me. Thank you. If you have any doubts, please just let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer it.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an informative session. Now we will be moving towards question answer session, and all of you are requested to raise your hand or you can type into the chat box and I will be reading it for you.
No queries? No one? Guys, trust me or not, I am an introvert myself. I am not like this like all the time. I also do not raise my hand or ask my questions. So I completely understand if you are like quite shy or something. Yeah, we have a question. Suggest a platform to start with game development. Game development, wow. C hash. Okay, Zainab, is it okay if I like connect you with one of my friends who's into game development? He has also got an opportunity as an intern because I don't want to mislead you in any way, because I'm more much familiar with app development. So is it okay? Yeah, just a minute. I'll just get the profile. And guys, if you have any other queries, please let me know as well. Yeah, so this is his LinkedIn profile. You can definitely text him. He will be more than happy to help you to learn Python. Okay, so I personally learned Python from Udemy back when I was in my first year, and yeah, back I was in my first year. I learned from Udemy. So right now, I think there is some offer going on. I think we have like 75% offer. So if you want a certification as well, and if you're a very basic beginner, you can start from there. But if you want to go free, I would suggest you with Free Code Camp or Geeks for Geeks. So both of these things are very good. But if you're a person who will need some visual kind of learning, if you want someone to teach you, then I would suggest you to go to YouTube. So you can just type, if you're much familiar with your native language, I'm pretty sure there's a YouTuber who has done it in that way. So maybe you can like watch his or her YouTube channel and you can learn from there. So yes, resources as in Free Code Camp and Geeks for Geeks. And in Geeks for Geeks, you can also like learn by practicing. There will be a lot of problem statements. You can just learn it and make it that way. Android developer. Is it a good career to start with? Yes, to start with, it is a very good career, but you can't really stop with just Android development, because nowadays, the world is the digital era is revolving all the time. So if you're into Android development, just learn a little bit about data structures or even artificial intelligence and implement those concepts, AI or ML into your app. So in that case, I think in that aspect, you will have more value than just an Android developer. You will also be like an Android developer who's an like AI, ML enthusiast and everything. So, but first start with Android development. There are so many job openings out there for sure. But again, if you are like aiming for MNCs such as Meta, Google, all those kind of things, then it's better to go with DSA. If I hope you get my point. Of Android development. So I did it from Internshala, just like I mentioned earlier. I did it over there. So there's this learning certification courses. But if you want a certificate, I would prefer you with Udemy or Coursera. So Coursera is an amazing platform. You can go there to learn. And there's this feature, guys. This might be out of context, but Coursera is quite expensive if you go there, right? But you can actually apply for a financial aid. So if you apply for a financial aid for a good reason, for a reasonable reason, the course will be completely free. And yeah, you can go to the intermediate level from the basic level. So please check out the Coursera courses as well. HTML. Yes. By suggestions, what do you mean? I do not understand. Do you need some platform or like anything like that? Data structures and algorithm. I think everybody will start with Python. That is like one easy language, right? It also has like oops in it. So most of the people will start with Python only. I think if you are going for that easy language kind of an aspect, I think I would suggest you with Python. Or if you had already learned C or C++ from your school, then I think even C or C++ is quite easy. Especially C++ is easy. So it's either Python or C++. Yes, Mr. Mohammed, I'm not familiar with the terms halal or haram. I think you mean like, is it legal or illegal? I don't know, or is it good or bad? I think we are just developing products for the users, right? If you have a good idea, for example, let's say Instagram is a great idea. So if such idea did not come, we would not be using this. Or if in a LinkedIn that idea did not come, we would not be using that. So I think if you have a good idea, if you think it will definitely help the users, then definitely you can go for it. It is not it's not a bad thing. It's good only.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry
Uh,
for the interruption.
Yes,
I
yes.
need to make an announcement. The feedback form is uploaded in the chat box. Kindly fill that out in order to claim your e-certificates as the form is just open for 10 minutes. Thank you. Now you may continue, ma'am.
Yes, sure, sure. In India, which jobs or software engineer can a person can jobs or software engineers? Honestly, in India, the competition is super high because no matter in which department you go, you could be a mechanical department or you could be electrical department, or you would have even chosen like bio in some cases. All of them will come for the competition, for the software engineer competition. So competition is pretty high. I don't think anybody can easily get a job in India when it comes to development part, especially as it's booming. I hope it is not like that in Pakistan as well. I hope you have great opportunities in Arduino programming. Um, I personally have not met anyone who did that. But if you are good at it and if there is a market out there, so how do you check if there is a market or not? You just go to the websites that I mentioned, right? Freelancer.com, we have Upwork, Fiverr. Just go there, type this, just see if there is a market, if there are people who are willing to hire these kind of programmers, because it is quite rare. Arduino programming is rare, and I think even as a student, if you apply for it, you will definitely get clients. So please check out those websites to know more about it. So in order to get into the Mang area, that is Meta, Amazon, Google, all such kind of things, you need to start with data structures immediately. All right. So data structures is the number one skill that they are looking for. So I think they have like 6 to 8 rounds, 6 to 8 number of rounds for just to test your data structure and OOPS skill. So just pick one programming language. It could be either Python or Java or C++, anything that you're comfortable with, and you start solving the problems of data structures over there. So meanwhile, like once you do that in a regular time, you will get this logical reasoning and all that. So in Google, right, they will be like, how do I say? They'll just give you one problem statement and they'll expect you to solve it right then and there. So in that case, I think I think it's a safe thing to say that you should start with DSA, data structures and algorithm. And you can like check out websites such as Geeks for Geeks or Free Code Camp to learn these skills. And I think you also need to have one more skill, as far as I know. So they won't be giving most of them, like in most of the interviews, they won't be giving this laptop in order for you to solve the problem. They'll just give you one whiteboard, right? So in that whiteboard, you have to like for each step by step you need to tell them like how you're doing it, how you're thinking and everything. So that will like that will give them the opportunity to know how you're thinking, and that will increase your chance of getting into Google. So yeah, so practice on whiteboard. How was your comments to visual basic programming languages? uh I'm really sorry to say this, but I think I just like how I said, I do not want to mislead you with something that I'm not very familiar. So yeah. And by the way, what do you mean by visual basic programming languages? In web development. So, if you are a student who are just starting out, and if you think you have an intermediate skill, please reach out to to your friends or to someone who's in need of the web development, right? So just reach out to them, see if they can hire you. If not, you can like use platforms such as Freelancer, Upwork, or Fiverr. You can apply over there, but it is better to have your own projects first to show that okay, this is me, this I have done these projects, which means I am capable of doing your project. So the client will be, they'll trust you. So first you do like a thing, at least 2 to 4 projects, good projects, showcase them, and I think you will get it. And in your LinkedIn profile, just change your bio to web development freelancer or something like that, so that when people are searching, because I personally I was looking for a freelancer, I did it through LinkedIn. I was just searching React JS freelancer, and I got one person and he was fantastic. So maybe you can do that as well. Actually, for the web development, so there is it's a 50-50 part, right? So nowadays, if I personally want to create a portfolio, I would not like hire someone who's a web developer and pay them. Instead of that, I'll just go to wix.com or to WordPress, and with just some basic knowledge of programming, I'll be able to make my own website. But again, at the same time, everything happens on the desktop. So whatever you do on your phone, it is more than an application or more than an app. I think websites have much more efficiency. So most of the students, they use laptop. So in that case, I think it has a good future. But just make sure you are a full stack developer, right? For example, you have given Java, right? So only a few companies would be using Java. Some of the companies would be using Python. So in that case, they can't hire you. So make sure when you choose the backend, you choose the right one, and yeah, go forward with it. Okay, I'll just share for the further connection. I'll share you my LinkedIn link. Just a minute. Yeah, so this is my LinkedIn profile. So if you need any suggestions or if you need any guidance, or if you just need to have any more questions, you can just reach out to me anytime. And even if I don't know, I'll definitely try to connect you with someone that who knows it and who I know as well. Do we have like any more questions?
So now, as we are
Thank you. Thank you.
uh, is there anything you want to say before we conclude, ma'am?
Yeah, again, I really can't tell you how grateful I am for this platform. Trust me or not, this is actually my first time doing it international, and it's a very good feeling to just see all of you to get all these questions, and I hope it was useful for you. At least 1%. That is my point. At least a delta X percentage. I hope it was useful for you. And thank you so much, Miss Tareem, and thank you so much, Mr. Yasin. You guys are great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your knowledge has really uplifted the bar. Now we would like to show you a digital souvenir as the token of appreciation from our site.
Thank you so much, guys. This really means a lot to me. Thank you.
I would also like to thank our attendees for becoming the part of this amazing session. Hope you guys learned a lot throughout the event. Stay blessed and positive. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye. Take care and all the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am.